Hey friends, welcome to the next video. Today's video is sponsored by COMPACTenna, the leaders and experts in small powerful antennas for amateur radio or ham radio, land mobile radio or LMR, and scanners. And today I'm super stoked to bring you a product review of an antenna that they've sent over to me. It's the COMPACTenna 2-meter, 220, and 440 tri-band mobile antenna. And this thing's been shaking up the industry, and I'm happy to bring you the review today. Let's go. Before we dive into the details, let's start with the unboxing, or in this case, the unbagging experience. And I know looking at a bag, you're asking yourself, how does it arrive to me without being damaged? Well, it just doesn't show up with a stamp here and your address on the bag. No, it came securely in a box, but as you can see, the package itself is very minimalistic and ensures that all you get are the necessary components without any of that other packaging fuss you see in other products that are out on the industry. Now, one thing to note is that you will need to purchase an antenna mount for this antenna. It does need to be an NMO style mount. It could be a lip mount, it could be a permanent mount, it could be a mag mount. Now, I'm using a mag mount, and I've included a link to the one I use in the video description below. And I did spend some time talking with Dr. Jack over the phone before the product arrived, learning more about him, the company, and the process that he went through to invent the tri-band antenna that we're looking at today. It is very, very cool. Here's his call sign right here with a nice handwritten letter from Dr. Jack. November 8, November Delta Lima is his call sign. And if you spot him online, don't be shy. QSO with him. He's very approachable. He'll be fun to talk with, and it'll be a great person to get into your logbook. November 8, November Delta Lima, Dr. Jack Nilsson of COMPACTenna. Here are a couple of stickers that Dr. Jack sent along the way as well, and the product right here for Scotty D. See, he even took the time to write for Scotty D right there, and that really, really goes an extra mile, at least in my opinion. Now, opening up the package with the antenna, we're taking a look at it, and I am immediately impressed with this antenna. It is sleek. It's compact. Let's take a look at the size. Let's get the ruler out here. And the ruler says it is 7.5 inches tall. That's it. From top to bottom, 7.5 inches. The circumference of the antenna. Let's take a look at that. Let's wrap that ruler around. And we're looking at about, let's give or take 5.25. So 5.25 inches in diameter and only 7.5 inches in height. This is a very small antenna that promises very superior omnidirectional coverage. And I know you're questioning yourself, how does this happen? Well, this impressive performance is all thanks to a very unique electric magnetic field diversity pattern designed and patented by Dr. Jack Nilsson. And I will put that patent number down in the video description below so you can go and read the entire patent and see all of the details. The build quality of this, it's very light, super light, almost featherweight right here, but it feels solid and well made. And the rugged weatherproof radome exterior adds some durability, and it's clear that Dr. Jack and COMPACTenna put a lot of thought into making this antenna not only powerful, but also robust enough to withstand various outdoor conditions. And the internals include an extended monofiller spiral Tesla-like coil, which is quite impressive and different than any other antenna that I've ever seen in the industry. Now, there is a screw right here. Now, hams are very notorious and curious to take things apart, see how things work, see if we can modify them, make them better. On the caution side, don't take this screw out. I didn't take it out, but I did talk to Dr. Jack about it when the product arrived. I said, hey, could I take that screw out, take the casing off, and look at the internals? And the warning is, don't take it apart, because this screw really just is an extra added effort to hold the out shell on it. And it also helps with the weatherproofing. There's some weather sealant on here. And if you take this screw out, it will not only break the water seal of the antenna as a whole, but it can damage the internals of the antenna. So just a warning up front, do not try to disassemble this antenna. On the bottom of the antenna, you see the leaf connector right here for the NMO mount and a T. That lets us know that we have the tri-band version of this antenna. Let's see what else we have here in the bag. We have another little bag inside of this bag, and it has super lube in it. Now, this is a silicone-based lube grease that we will put on the threads of the NMO mount right here, and we'll also put it on the threads of the NMO mount of the antenna mount. In my case, it is a mag mount. So we're going to put some right here. We're also going to put some on the antenna mount and screw together very carefully. And if you think that this is compressed in just a little bit and you want to make sure that it's going to make connections with that center part of the NMO mount, you can pull this leaf connector back just a little bit and make sure that it makes a good connection to that center post of the NMO mount. And last but not least, we have the instructions or the information about the antenna right here. Lots of the speeds and feeds. We see the maximum power rating, 85 watts on 2 meter, 30 watts on 220, and 50 watts on 440. So that is the unboxing or the unbagging of the compact tri-band antenna. Now let's get to the installation. During the unbagging, I missed one piece because it was actually stuck to the back of one piece of paper, and it's a very critical piece to the overall installation. So I want to show you this. This is the antenna. We looked at that. We looked at the super lube right here, which is the synthetic grease with PTFE, and we'll show you where you're going to be putting all of that. And then we had our two pieces of paper with a lot of information on it. First, we had our speeds and feeds and a little bit of information about the antenna itself, some pictures of, kind of how to install it, the base unit, and then we had the piece of paper of if you're going to be doing it as a base unit. Now, stuck to the back of this piece of paper was this rubber gasket, and this is very critical for the installation because you put it on your NMO mount and you put it between the mount and the antenna, and it helps to create an extra watertight seal so that water and other weather elements don't seep up into the threads and start to oxidize your copper setting right here that actually connects to the center pin of the NMO mount. So make sure you find this inside of your packaging because it's a very critical part to the overall installation. And the installation of the COMPACTenna 2 meter, 220, and 440 tri-band NMO mobile antenna is super easy. It's incredibly easy. It's straightforward. You basically set it up and forget it. No need to worry about complicated tuning procedures. You can get it up and running in no time flat. However, to ensure you get the best and most optimum SWR or standing wave ratio for your antenna, I recommend having a SWR meter handy during the installation, and that's going to help you determine the best placement of the antenna on your vehicle, which can significantly impact the signal reception and performance. And you want to achieve the lowest possible SWR, which is essential for efficient transmission and reception. So take some time and fine-tune the antenna position. It's well worth it. So I'm using the Nano VNA on this one. All right, let's get to the installation. We don't need this piece of paper. We don't need the bag. We do need the rubber gasket, and we do need the super lube, and we do need our base. This is the NMO mag mount base that I'm using. Again, a link is in the video description below. So first and foremost, we're going to get out our super lube. And I've already cut this open, so it's going to be easy for us to use here in the installation. And the first thing you're going to do is you're going to put some super lube around all of the threads. I just try to put a good amount of super lube on all of the surfaces, so when things are threading together, they will get a good coating of that super lube on it. So you can see right there, hopefully a lot of super lube on the NMO mount base. Then I'm going to put a little bit of super lube on the actual rubber ring right here, and it's going to spread itself during the installation anyway, so don't get too worried about going, oh my gosh, I'm not going to have enough. Just get enough on there to where you know that as it spreads through, it'll create a nice seal on that. All right, so we have it on the bottom of the O-ring, we have it on the threads of the NMO mag mount, and we're going to put that face down just like that. Make sure you get it seated below the threads. And now we're going to put a little bit more super lube on top of the rubber gasket or the rubber O-ring, whatever you want to call it. All right. And they give you plenty of this super lube. A little bit goes a long way. But again, I try to get a lot of it on everything. So we've got it now on the bottom of the O-ring, we have it on the top of the O-ring or the rubber gasket, and we have it on the threads of the NMO mag mount. Now I'm going to go through and I'm going to put just a little bit more on the inside threads of the actual antenna itself. So I'm going to go through here, squeeze a little bit more to the front. Just kind of turn it around, make sure you're getting all of the threads. If you get it at the bottom, as it's threading itself on, it'll actually spread it out throughout the rest of the actual antenna threads. And then remember the leaf connection here. I want to make sure that it's going to be a good connection to the center pin of the NMO mag mount. So I'm just going to lightly pull it back, not a whole lot because you don't want to break it off. Just pull it back to where you know that it's not pushed down in there. So now it's up. And I have everything lubed on that. Now I'm going to be doing that counter thread to feel where it's going to pop into place. So I've got it on the threads, and I'm going to turn backwards. And I just felt it click. So I don't know if you just heard that, but I'm going to do it one more time. You can feel it going around. And there it goes. It clicks. So that's when I know that it's met the entry point of the thread of the NMO mount, which is right here. So now I can start turning it very carefully, clockwise, and you're going to watch the silicone lube, or that synthetic lube. You'll see it start to spread out. And remember, you don't have to make it super tight. Just kind of snug. You don't want to strip it out. You don't want to, break anything for the rubber gasket. And that's the installation of the antenna on the mag mount. Super simple. Now let's get it into place and test some SWR. Okay, now we're on top of the vehicle and we're ready to place the mag mount. Now, if you were installing a mag mount antenna on top of a vehicle, where do you think you would place it? Would you place it over here, over there, or here, back there by the fin antenna for the actual vehicle itself, or maybe in the center? Where do you think? Well, most people think it would go right here in the center of the vehicle. So we're going to do that first, but this answer is wrong for this antenna. So let's get down off of the ladder and let's take a look at the SWR in the current placement in the center of the vehicle. All right, with the antenna in the middle of the roof, which is not optimum for this antenna, it's not too bad, but we can do better. We can see we're measuring the 2-meter band right now, 144 to 148 on the SWR meter, and we get an SWR of 1.77 and a return loss. I don't know if it comes clear on the screen, but it's 11.7 dB. So if we come down to our handy dandy chart right here with an 11 dB loss at 1.7 SWR, it gives us a effective delivery through power of 92%. So that's what we're getting on the 2-meter band. Let's flip over to the 220 band. And let's take a look at that. You can see we are measuring the 222 through 225 right here at the bottom of the screen. And we're getting a SWR of 1.8 and a return loss of 10. So not too bad on that. And let's look at the 70 centimeter band. So let's do a recall on that. And I've got that on my preset 3. So on the 70 centimeter band, we see 420 to 450. We're getting a SWR of 1.94 and a return loss of about 9.8 dB. So not great on the 70 centimeter band. And on these tri-band antennas, typically one band favors over the other. And you can see it just got a little bit worse as we got to the 70 centimeter. But as we move through the band, I can move the marker of this 70 centimeter band and go all the way up to, let's see, this section right here on the marker. And we're at a 1.83 at that point. And at the lowest part of the 70 centimeter band. Let's go way down here and see where that is at. Not too bad, we're at a 1.43. Usable, but it can be better. Let's move that antenna to where it should optimally be in your vehicle. Okay, let's take the antenna from the center of the roof and move it to the back corner of the roof, right about there. And I know what you're thinking, the corner? Shouldn't it be in the center of the ground plane? Well, the COMPACtenna is designed in a way such that it works better when it's in the corner of a roof or a hood or a trunk, because it uses that corner as part of the counterpoise. So the closer you get it to a corner, the better SWR you're going to get. So you're going to have to play with it. Should it be that corner? Should it be that corner over there? Should it be the front corners? Should it be on the front of your hood? Where should it be? But put it on the edge instead of the center and you will get a better SWR. So let's take a look at what we got by just placing it here versus there. You can immediately see the difference just by moving the antenna from the center of the roof to the corner of the roof. We were at a 1.7 SWR and we dropped it to a 1.42 SWR just by moving it over to the corner of the roof. And now we have a signal loss of negative 15 dB. So if we come down to the chart, we got negative 15 dB at a 1.4 SWR. So what efficiency rating do we have on the antenna? We come over here and we jump from a 92 to a 96.8% efficiency rating of through power on the antenna. Now let's take a look at the 220 band. So we're going to hit recall here. Go over to the 220 band and go down to about the middle of the band, and we're going to see where we are at. And there's about the center of the band, and we're now at a 1.5 SWR for the 220 with a signal loss of 12. So if we come down here to a 12 at about a 1. Where are we at on this? 1.5, 1.6, give or take almost. So we're floating somewhere in between these two. So if we come all the way over here to the side, we're at about a 93 to a 94% efficiency on the 220 band. And let's come up here to the 70 centimeter band. And let's take a look at that. And it got a pretty big wave in there. So let's see what the lowest SWR is and at what frequency. So we are down here. Boy, a 1.2 SWR at 424.2. And if we slide the marker over to here, we see we have a SWR of 1.9. Not great, but hey, you know, we'll deal with it. I don't do a lot of 70 centimeter work anyway. Most of my stuff I do is on 2 meter and 220. But that one, we're getting a signal loss of negative 10 and a 1.8 at that section. But it really is great down here at the lower section of the 70 centimeter band, where we get a fantastic SWR of about 1.3 and a signal loss of 17.7. So if we come down here at a 1.3 and a 17.7, so we got 17, a 1.3, and that brings us all the way over here to the side. And I'll deal with that, 98% efficiency. And that's how you can tell by just moving the antenna from a non-optimum location to an optimum location, how it will improve that SWR. So make sure you have an SWR meter with you when you're installing your COMPACtenna, and make sure you get the most optimum SWR. Let's talk about the most crucial aspect, the performance of the transmission and the reception of the antenna. Because hey, if it looks good, but it performs bad, then it's really not worth your dollar spent, right? Well, during my test, it delivered excellent results. Out of respect for the hams that I made contact with during my tests, I didn't record any of the audio, but I will be showing you the terrain, the distance, and the signal reports from each one of those contacts. You see on the terrain map a blue marker and a green marker. I'm the blue marker and the repeater is the green marker. On the first one, 22.84 kilometers apart or 14.19 miles with a signal report of 5.9 both on transmission and reception. Our second one at 25.27 kilometers apart or 15.7 miles with a signal report of 5.9 both ways. Our third one, 28.84 kilometers apart or 17.92 miles with a signal report of 5.9 both on transmission and reception. Last, we got the Big Kahuna at 69.86 kilometers apart, or 43.4 miles. My signal report to that ham operator was a 5.7, and his signal report back to me was a 5.8, which was incredible. And on top of the great performance, you also get convenience. And you know what I'm talking about. If you've got a quarter wave antenna on top of a large vehicle and you park in a garage, every time you leave, you've got to get out and put that antenna up. Or if you've got a fold-over antenna like this, you've got to get out, fold that antenna up, then get back into your vehicle and leave. And do that every single time. And throughout your entire drive, including your destinations, you have to think about ceiling heights all the time. Drive-throughs, parking garages, low-hanging branches. All the time you have to think about taking that antenna down or folding it over before driving into wherever you're going. And as much as you try to do your best, you're always going to forget sometimes, and you're going to drive in and you're just going to knock that antenna over, which can damage your antenna or your vehicle. All of this goes away with the COMPACTenna, because at just 7.5 inches tall, all you have to do is get into your vehicle and drive away. There's no stopping and setting up your antenna every single time. And then when you get to your destination, you don't have to worry about low-hanging branches, drive-throughs, or garages. You just pull in and park. It's that simple. So ultimately, what do I think? I think this antenna is a game changer in the mobile antenna industry, specifically the compact mobile antenna industry, because its sleek, compact design, its ease of installation, its durability, its impressive coverage. Plus, you don't have to worry about those large quarter wave antennas on your vehicle anymore, getting knocked over by low-hanging branches, going through drive-throughs, tunnels, parking garages, or even the garage at your home. All of that goes away with the COMPACTenna tri-band 2-meter 220 and 440 mobile antenna, because it's just 7.5 inches tall. Take a look at the link in the video description below so you can grab one of these antennas for yourself or as a gift. Plus, I've got a link in the video description below to the exact same mag mount that I've used in this video. So don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like this video, comment on the video what your favorite part of this video was, and turn on that bell notification so you get notified when we publish new videos here on the channel. So friends, until the next video, we'll see you next time, Web World.